Okay, it is 6 o'clock, so I will call this meeting of the Board of Supervisors of Franklin Township to order. Dear Lord, please guide our minds as we work through the business of the township and keep all of our residents and employees safe as they go through their daily lives. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody signed in that wants to speak? Everybody, just the two? Okay. Teresa Pagani.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm the flood girl.
Okay.
I'm wondering what happened since the last meeting, if you guys have been, I don't see it on here on the agenda. So once I read the agenda, I realized there's no updates or where it's going and what's happening.
That is going to be a lengthy work in progress. I started speaking with some of the folks upstream because I go to a different meeting with them on ambulance issues. So all that we can do is ask them to share some of the data and things that they have from upstream. But as far as
I respect that it's going to be long, and I don't want you to think I'm here complaining like you need to do something, you need to do something. I'm ready to get involved, and I know I have neighbors that are interested. I'm not comfortable being a sitting duck waiting for the next flood because it's coming. This weekend, my yard was just so. If it's Beaver County, I have to get in touch with. If I'm open to you. I'd like to see updates and be involved. Like it's time to make something happen.
I think there's a citizens group.
Yeah.
Jackson and.
So I looked that guy up. He's a little bit tumultuous, and I don't know that I want to get involved.
This is not going to be a quick, easy fix.
I respect that.
Okay,
I know that.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to have you snap or anyone to have to snap their fingers, but I would like to know what's happening, where it's going, what needs done, if I need to write letters, if I need to get what has to happen because something has to happen.
Okay.
So
do we have an email address for you?
No. Do you need it?
Yeah, if you could leave me that.
I will.
That would be great.
I will.
And then I can start pushing you information that I find.
Okay.
As we go forward, and we'll work our way from there. But there's going to be a lot of doors we're going to have to knock on.
Oh, I'm ready to knock
to get this resolved. Trust me when I tell you.
And it's at least we're doing something. At least I'm not just sitting there waiting for my kids' pictures to go underwater again. Okay. All right. Thank you.
I can just add, it's going to have to be a workshop
for
us to start talking about it.
Right.
And that only happens once a month.
Right.
Ordinance workshop, for us to be able to meet here and discuss things, like that.
But we can do the research outside of that. Okay. So that's where we're at right now, is trying to find the research, figure out which doors are going to be the ones that we can open. And it's going to be, it's going to come down to money and who's going to want to pay for it. And right now I can tell you that's going to be a tough squeeze.
Something has to happen.
Yeah.
If it were the 1800s, I'd be like, yeah, okay. But it's 2025. There's money, there's people, there's engineers, there's ways to make it happen. It's time, period. It's just time. So, yeah.
Yep. You leave me your email before you leave today, and we'll see what we can push you into.
Okay.
And I can just add, when Steve said about the meeting, that we will continue to look for information between our meetings, and I'm sure he has and I have in between.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so for the next meeting that's coming down the road about it, you said there's what did you call it?
We do workshops.
A workshop.
First Monday of the month.
They're
open to the public.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Tim Candido.
Yes, I just wanted to touch on we came to the workshop last week. We talked about a new building, a new township building. Chief, you gave your paperwork.
No,
your wish list.
I can go print that.
All right.
The wish
Did
list.
you have that? Did you get that?
Well, I sent it to her and Shannon.
All right. We need those to get to the engineer, and we're going to speak to Mr. Myers.
I started that conversation.
All right. All right. That's what I just wanted to.
And then the guy that was the pole barns reached back out to me too. So I said, once we get all of our wish lists for that building done, we'll have to see if you can even make that work with what you guys can do. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, we're that guy reached out to me, and him and I had a conversation, and we're exchanging emails back and forth. And as I go with what that looks like, then we'll see whether they can contribute to it or not.
Will they be allowed? Are they going to draw the police?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, no, that would just be the
The new-
building
the
that
new
we would
building.
build, right? What we would do in here is we'd have to get somebody else.
So I just, at our last workshop, you know, what we discussed was the road police and secretary's wish list. That's what was discussed at that meeting, not our wish list. So it was just a discussion, you know. I just don't want public thinking that we're building a building right now, so that's all.
All right, thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. So minutes from the May 15th meeting and the June 2nd workshop need approved.
So I'd make a motion to approve the May 15th monthly meeting minutes and the June 2nd work session minutes.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. And just so you know where we are here in the interest of space, once these minutes have just been approved by us, that's now our standing record for that meeting. So we'll probably replace last month's meeting with this month's meeting. We don't have to keep that video up after we approve these minutes, because this is our approved documentation of the meeting.
But you can, right? There's no
can.
reason to take it down.
We can, but we don't have to.
And who's making that decision?
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, because we
All right.
we can't do anything. We can't remove it without discussing it. All of our minutes from the previous meeting are printed and put online.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. All right. Our correspondence: Beaver County Conservation District incompleteness letter for Tractor Supply. It's a lengthy issuance that is moving between the engineers. It's given to Tractor Supply to get in compliance with. A DEP letter waiver qualification for water obstruction and encroachment. Apparently, we're adding a house to White Pine Way, and DEP sent a novel to them on the water retention plan. I mean, it had to go into the dam standards for the state, and basically it was said that they're in compliance as long as they meet all this. If they do not meet all of the criteria that are set forth by the state, their approval can be revoked. So someone will be monitoring that between the engineers and the
So
conservation district.
I think this is part of the problem with the water. And with this, and this is just correspondence, so we can't do anything, it's just for our knowledge. But, you know, they asked about constructing 2 stormwater management basements and infrastructure related to that. This is the big one. Impact associated, and it says placing fill along the 160 feet, I'm guessing feet, the floodway of an unnamed tributary in the Connecunesset Creek. And it's things like that. I'm not an engineer, I don't know, but when I read that, it's something in my mind that is part of our problem.
Correct.
So, but again, this is information only, and the bottom says, the department has determined that your project as currently proposed qualifies for waivers from the requirements of the water obstruction encroachment permit. And then it says, the requirements for a permit are waived in accordance with this section. And then the interesting fact is, and again, I have to ask our solicitor, maybe we can talk about this a different time, but it says proper erosion and sediment control measures are required during and after construction. The next one says, if wetlands exist and are affected by the activities described in this letter, the review or approval is void. So, I don't understand. I mean, it says they're filling in a floodway.
Well,
And yet,
yeah.
so I know, Brian, I need to meet with you and talk more about this
it's-
because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
But the state is giving them the
Okay.
conditional
Yeah.
approval, but yeah,
And we don't overrule any of that.
can't take it out of our hands.
Yeah.
Well, we need to talk to the state though, because information Mia presented was that we are not in compliance with the updated watershed
Mhm.
ordinance it's supposed to be regulated every 5 years.
That's because the population of the township is less than 10,000 people.
Yep.
So you don't qualify for the MS4 stormwater management
Credits,
program
yeah.
in the state. And that's the basis of that letter as well. So
But we're growing. I mean, there's building every which way.
The
All
more
that
we
water
grow-
is gonna run into a retention pond.
Well, there is, if I recall,
And then it's
storm
slow
wa-
draining
there
into
is,
the Connection.
there is a stormwater management plan agreement between Zallo and the township. I believe that was executed when he made the road, a road that the township adopted. What was that, 5-6 years ago? That, can be updated.
Where's it flow from that place to the clinic? There's all those Sherwood Acres in
I
between.
I do not know the answer to that. I probably want to talk to our engineer, only because we worked with our engineer to get those storm water management plans in place, because there is if I recall, there is a storm water retention pond,
There is.
isn't there?
There, well, and then the ponds will discharge into whatever the state has, like along Old Furnace Road, because that's a state road. He comes down off of
Has
there,
allows them to.
and then it goes to wherever that goes. And I know it probably goes down into the system that takes the lakes from Len Street and the backside of that, and then off into the Connequenessett. So that little tributary that basically exists by those lakes and little ponds down through there is where it's going. All right. DEP complaint report for Ferndale lateral issues. There have been some complaints about the leaking sewage. This is a bigger problem running into the creek.
They said it wasn't running into the creek.
Yeah, I know. That's what they keep saying. But
So, I talked to Eric and I also sent the sewer authority, per our code, they have permission to go on there and fix it and
Okay.
they can file a lien, so. the
Okay.
sewer authority can do that.
So did the authority send them a written notice then?
I would assume they've been trying to get the owners to comply,
Mhm.
and that was the issue.
yeah, when the renters are calling, then we know there's a problem.
But again, the state says no violations.
Well, probably because it's not directly dumping into the creek,
Yeah,
but it's getting there eventually.
Well, any discharge into the ground, whether it's gray water, which
Yeah.
would be your
Mhm.
shower water, or if you're washing clothes, that type of water, or your raw sewage, any type of discharge onto the surface ground is a violation of Act 547.
Yeah. That,
this says violation. No, I mean, that's what their report says.
it'd be a clean stream flow.
It was,
Well, it could be, yes.
I was
Yeah.
kind of dumbfounded. So.
well, I mean, the system's broke. It does need repaired, but I think Doug went down, and I think Doug can go in there and see what they can do to fix it.
Doug actually isn't able to do it, because he doesn't do
Lateral
public-
lines.
yeah,
He
public-
doesn't do
for
the lateral
public,
lines.
Okay.
But they would have somebody from the sewer authority that could do that.
Okay.
And the thing is, they have had complaints prior to this, and nothing happened. And I don't know how long ago that was.
Well, there's
Um,
a provision to enforce.
Yeah.
With civil remedies and fines
Mhm.
and the like.
All right. We got a correspondence from Aldi's about their grand opening on the 26th at 8:30 a.m. We had an email from a resident with a concern about a stop sign on Steeple Avenue that we read through, and he has been making this case for a stop sign at an intersection that we would have to do a traffic study to have that stop sign placed there.
I don't believe we need to do the traffic study. We can have the roadmaster and the chief do it. I'd asked Ryan Long this last year.
And then, so following what he put in his email, then we need to put a stop sign at Fire Street and Steeple Avenue too.
Did you see the video that he had sent?
I live down there, Dana.
Yeah. It was a video
I
of two
live-
young kids going through a stop sign where there's no stop sign coming this
So
way.
the kids are wrong.
The
And I
kids are
and I
wrong.
understand it could be a tragic accident. But one street up, one building away from Old Zilly Road, they come down Fire Street and ramp into our parking lot without stopping at that stop sign either.
But you said you would agree to put a stop sign there if we took it from someplace else. I don't understand why we can't just put a stop sign there. It isn't going to hurt anything.
We don't need 3 4-way stops on Steeple Avenue going down that street.
I did get the chief's recommendation prior, and I know we're not voting on this, but chief, do you recommend?
Listen, we went down this road, I believe it was in January. We visited this. You know, I don't know how those stop signs were erected or why or what method is utilized for placing them there.
What occurs if we put up a non-enforceable stop sign?
Are you asking me? Well, if it's found that it's not within the promulgations of PennDOT, any citations or you would write would be thrown out. If that's the case, if it's not done properly the way the PennDOT mandates, it has to be placed there.
And a stop sign is used to assign the right of way of an intersection to make sure the traffic flows smoothly and predictably.
Yes, but it is meant to be on the slowest side of the traffic, so the sides that are coming in to the main street are where the stop signs are designed to be, not on the main road.
I don't understand why you're so against having.
Because
a
if
stop
we
sign.
put that one up, we're going to put this one up, and pretty soon you're going to stop every 50 feet everywhere you go in this township.
There's
Every
I don't
50
think that'll
feet.
be the case.
Uh,
And again, I said last time, maybe we need to have an engineer look at our stop sign placements and make sure that they are correct. If it's gonna save a life. Well, we can't afford an engineer for a building, then we could afford the engineer for. a
Well, all right.
stop
So we
sign.
have the email. We can continue to look at that problem.
I'm not flipping it. I'm just, it's a stop sign. What does it cost? Nobody else has asked to put a stop sign up. This person
Nobody
has
else,
asked repeatedly.
nobody else in Frisco has asked to have another stop sign put on that street either.
I did reach out to a few different residents and asked if they were agreeable on it and if it was needed, and they thought it was, but they're not experts.
And
So I asked the chief.
I've reached out to a number of residents that live down there like I do, and they don't agree that we need another stop sign there.
But you
So
said you would put one there if we could move it.
we don't need 3 stop signs. You want to move one from another intersection up there? But it's
And
to
that
me
would cause
is
more accidents.
they don't stop for the stop signs we have down there. So here's the bigger issue. When you think that they're going to stop for the stop sign and your kid goes out and plays in the street, which he shouldn't be, and gets run over because they didn't stop for the stop sign, I watch them all day long. I live on the busier street.
Putting a and your street has a stop sign there at that intersection.
That
It's
was
steep
well before
and
me.
Zilly. Yeah,
Yeah, one
It-
stop sign on that
it
street.
is not gonna hurt to put a stop sign
One
there.
stop sign on the
It is
street.
not gonna
We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Planning Commission,
There was no meeting,
no meeting. Okay. Engineers report,
and there's no report available.
nothing. Yeah, because we're not working on any. Well, he's going to have to probably a couple of these things that EEP's doing. Solicitors report.
I have nothing.
All right.
And did you send the letter to the people that were living in the trailer, or did Eric Block?
I'm down at,
Yeah, I didn't send a
Andrews,
letter.
that was
Okay.
Eric,
Okay.
that was the day before the meeting too.
Was that addressed?
Yeah, it was addressed, and it should be removed hopefully Friday.
Oh, good.
Okay. Zoning and building permit report. Is this all the compressor station, the canopy?
Yes,
All
oh,
right.
no, not the compressor, down at Columbia Gas off of, by McKinley, that one.
Oh, yeah. That's
What's that?
actually Columbia Gas doesn't even own that anymore.
Okay,
They own the odorizer equipment,
okay.
but they don't really own that whole structure anymore. So
What is the canopy for Columbia Gas?
yeah, they had something off the back of the building.
Yeah, I think it's just going over some of the equipment and stuff.
Okay.
Okay. And then the odorizer equipment in flood Columbia Gas. What are they doing with that? Did they elaborate?
I can pull up the permits for you. I know Jeff really was the one that reviewed all that information.
Okay. Hangar build out at the Zilly Airport, a new hangar at the Zilly Airport, the fire alarm system at Tractor Supply, and then someone's putting the ramp on a house on Steeple Avenue, a single family home on White Pine Way, a pool fence and deck on Alicia Court, and demo of a mobile home on Echo Street, and then a zoning permit for a detached garage on American School Road.
Getting back to the solicitors, do we have anything going on with that trailer that's up at Smithwind?
I mean, that's
Before-
in the county's
before
hand at this
somebody
point in
asks.
time.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I did reach out to the county, I think it was last month, Heather, right?
Yeah.
And she said that they did have a contractor,
Mhm.
but there was no date, that was gonna get demolished yet. I went down and got some signs from Mobile.
Okay, Beaver County COG and Elwood City Chamber report. I did not attend the last month's COG meeting because I had a family issue in that evening. So the next meeting will be next Thursday. So I still don't know whether we're still up on that project that we were working on or not. So I will find out that whenever we go forward.
And I don't attend the Elwood City Chamber meetings.
Okay, fire department report. We're at 135 calls for the year. We ran 29 calls since the last meeting, including a building fire, cooking fire, passenger vehicle fire. We assisted medical crews on 4 calls, EMS calls with injuries, 4 motor vehicle accidents, 1 electrical wiring issue, 1 service calls, 4 unauthorized burning, 1 cover standby was 1 dispatch canceled en route, 2 EMS calls transferred to a non-fire agency, 5 2 false alarms, and a special type of incident. We have run 41 so far EMS calls with not in the excluding vehicle accidents with injuries. So we're keeping that busy and moving along. EMS Alliance report. This is a new one. So Shannon and I have attended some meetings since the beginning of the year, and I attended the last couple. So what's happening is, if you hear it, EMS has got an issue, and I've spent my entire adult life doing this. I understand the issue from a very pointed perspective. Funding is an issue, manpower is an issue, and those two issues usually kind of meet in the middle. So the two services, the one service that services most of our township and Cranberry Ambulance. So Harmony and Cranberry Ambulance are looking to get into a authorities type situation where they will, they're looking for a way to generate income and how that's going to look. So there's different models that they can look at. But Butler County hired a consultant, and they paid the bulk of it, and then the 7 municipalities in Butler County paid an additional $2,000, I think, a piece. They did not charge us for the consulting fees, but they included us because Harmony Ambulance covers part of Franklin Township. What's going forward now is they're trying to figure out what model it's going to look like. At the end of the day, they're looking to figure out how can they generate income. Ambulances only have 2 ways. We can do a subscription fee, which is what most of the traditional models have been, and fee for service. So we bill the insurance companies or we bill the patients for transport. That's not anywhere near covering the cost of an ambulance service. So now everybody's looking for a different funding stream. One of the things that's going on in places like the North Hills and other counties throughout the Commonwealth, is they have put in a fee per household. It can go anywhere from $85 to $55 a year for basically dedication to the ambulance service. With that, a whole lot of different things. This is still in the phase that we don't know how this looks, what you'll get for that money. You'll get the coverage, but it's the how the money is going to be managed. Since we have multiple ambulance services that cover Beaver County or this part of Beaver County, it gets a little muddy there. Will everybody be included? So we are at the phase right now that they've got everybody together. Us and Marion are at the table because we both have Harmony Ambulance that cover a lot of our municipality. So we're going to continue to go and listen and hear what their proposals are. Right now, by state code, we're allowed to do a $500,000 for EMS, and that's it, right? So that would be $500,000 for us would be somewhere around $27,000. Just to give you a reference, I just spec'd the new ambulance to come in, and that's $160,000. The stretcher system that goes in the truck's another $80,000. The cardiac monitor that goes in the truck's another $40,000. So you already see where you're approaching $300,000 just for a truck. So this is where we're having that big divide with funding and trying to maintain EMS services. So we're going to these meetings. We're going to look and see what this looks like if we wish to participate or not participate. I don't know what it looks like if we don't participate, but we're still too far out to really make a judgment on how this looks for us. But this is going to be the trend of the future. If you've not been watching the news, this is the thing, right? And I feel it every day because I'm short-staffed all the time. And part of the reason's been wages in EMS have been notoriously low. And until we can fix some of that, it's going to stay a problem. So that's what's driving this. We will keep you informed. As this last meeting was the first time we really started talking about what this is going to really look like, what kind of model we're going to go with, and we're going to start trying to figure out what a fee schedule would look like. So we will keep you informed as we go forward from here. All right.
So I have a question about that. A lot of the fire departments around the community do these fundraisers online where you buy tickets and they're making bank. They're buying new trucks, and is that something the EMS is
So
able to do?
one of the things we're trying to get out of, so these are paid professional services. One of the things we're trying to get out of is having to be like fire departments. We do a fundraiser, we do a direct mailing. We'll do a couple of fundraisers at a time, but the hours involved in training and answering calls, then it gets difficult. Then we're out there having to raise money. I've come up through this, the 44 years that I've been in the department. We used to run bingo every week. We used to run turkey shoots out here in the fall. We used to run teen dances every week. And we did a lot of that, plus answering the calls, putting in all of our training hours and everything that goes with that. So it's getting difficult. We're pretty, I wouldn't say strong, but we're okay with our volunteer fire service. If we start running out of that, you're going to find out what that's going to cost. That's going to be uber expensive because the cost of ready is real expensive. Most ambulance services, they're not going to have the time and resources to be able to do fundraising like this. That's what the memberships were for. My company, we still do a membership program every year. We run it in the fall into the early winter. And I know Harmony does. Medevac just did away with theirs. I don't know if Noga's is still running theirs or not. But that's basically, that's it, right? It was the, join and we'll give you these perks if you join. And that's the kind of stuff. So, all right. Sir.
We definitely need something because 2 weeks ago, across from my pizza shop, I looked, 93-year-old lady, customer of mine, Helen, fell. She's laying there by herself. I approached her, called her in. Chief, she was there, over an hour and a half?
Yeah, that was rough.
Laying on the floor.
Yeah.
Outside of her place with a broken hip, 93 years old. And there was nothing we could do for her because every time we moved her, she was in pain. But, the response.
Just keep her
was-
immobilized and
was
stable.
just, yeah, there's not enough ambulance service.
And that's why the fire department's jumped into this. We're trying to fill that gap the best that we can, but we can't transport.
You guys showed up.
Yeah.
And you called Elwood because they can administer the drugs.
Right.
Mhm.
Elwood has the
Set it up.
paramedic on their truck, so if we think that we need more help, we can call Elwood. They'll send us their paramedic out. Still turns into you need a transport vehicle.
So which ambulance service handles that area
Well, it goes between Medevac and Noga. They're on call different weeks.
on this side of the township?
So Harmony, I have them all the way down to the Tower Roads.
Mhm.
I just fixed that because they're way more reliable. So we have them down to Tower Road, and then past that, Medevac and Noga split it. What's supposed to happen is Harmony gets, if neither one of them can answer, Harmony's supposed to get the call. If Harmony's out, then my guy's got to come up.
So they were all busy.
Yep. We're coming from Newcastle, wherever the closest truck is. This is also a byproduct of not having a hospital in town, because when you don't have a hospital in town, the ambulances aren't in town because we're transporting 20 minutes in any given direction.
That ambulance that day was unloading at the med center.
Yeah.
And they had to turn around and come here.
Yeah.
That's how long it took.
We ran into that when Aliquippa closed because I used to have, it was nice for my service because we had a truck in the lower valley and a truck in the upper valley because there was hospitals there. When this one went away, it turns into a problem logistically. So, but I will keep everyone informed as we move through this process. Police report.
No EMA report.
No.
No EMA?
No.
Okay, for the month of May, we answered 170 calls. We patrolled 4,490 miles. In addition to the patrols and regular calls, the guys are, I'm trying to have them be a little more diligent on the speed enforcement and on obviously 288 and some of the other roads. And I tell these people when I stop them, it's not always about, we're not here to persecute everybody. Sometimes we're here to educate and cut you a break so you slow down the next time. So, that's what we're trying to do is when you see those lines, are the police there or not? So they're going to slow down, and hopefully that's what we're getting done. I'm still going to hire a couple other officers. We got an ad on Indeed. We had a call last month on the 15th down at Blotcher's. We had a female come in, and she ended up buying $6,500 worth of items that ended up being a stolen card. So we ended up doing the investigation. We were able to identify who they were. She was on a headset talking to her partner in the car, giving her the stolen card numbers over the phone. And they ended up being wanted in 6 other municipalities in Allegheny County, Butler County, Rye, New York, Prince County, Williams, Virginia, Fredericksburg, Virginia. And we were able to execute a warrant, pick them up in Cranberry, and put the female in jail. And we solved all those crimes. So like little old Franklin Township, that was kind of pretty awesome. All these people reaching out like, how did you find these? Can you send us all the information? Like, sure. So she's in jail, and he's still on the run, and he's in the computer one. So hopefully he gets stopped one day, and they'll bring him back here, and he'll answer for the charges here. So I'll have these the calls for service, and I'll have my report up here if anyone wants to read it. Please feel free to peruse it and look to it.
Thank you.
No state coverage? State coverage?
Nope.
Okay, road report. Prepared for cleanup day that went. Began mowing along the roads, cleared debris, fallen trees, and drains from heavy rains, replaced damaged culvert pipe on Pander Hollow Road and built new catch basin, patched holes on McKim Way, Marion Avenue, Narrows Road, Len Street, Silver Drive, Knox Lane, Nicholson, Pander Hollow, and Pine Hill. Fixed water issue for resident on Harmony Fisher. Installed electric lights and garage doors on the new police garage. Fixed holes in the catch basins on Ada Drive and Morningstar Drive. Burned Pander Hollow, Knox Lane, Francis Street, Fire Street, and parts of Old Zanopa Road. All right. So this is, do we have to award that?
No.
Okay. All right. So we've been trying to sell this old paver we have out here. And the bid that we got on Municipal was for $2,560. We were looking to try to get at least $4,000. So I think for $2,560, we sit on it and try to figure out another avenue to try to sell it, because I don't want to let it go that cheap.
Yeah.
So
Half price.
yeah, basically. So we'll keep working to try to figure out. Maybe it's just the time of the year that we were listed it at the wrong time, or I don't know. But I think we will reject this. Do we need a motion to reject this bid? All right.
I make a motion to reject the bid.
I second the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. So we're going to reject that bid and continue to try to do our due diligence to see if we can't find somebody to buy that paver.
We never did drag it out here.
No.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Small
Lots
amount.
of traffic.
All right, so then we have a junkyard permit application from Byrne Brothers Towing at 900 Richard Avenue down in Frisco on the other side of Harmony Fisher for a towing yard. It's got 1.2 acres down there. And then our junkyard permits from the 1970s.
Yeah. This is my first junkyard permit, and probably yours too, and I was reviewing it. I did look at it last week and then trying to refresh myself again today, and I did reach out to the solicitor and Byrne Brothers Towing, and I did see a section that he wouldn't. I don't know if he's not compliant or not, but the solicitor made a recommendation to have Eric go down there and measure it, because there was a section in there that said he had to be 100 feet back from the road. And one of the things he had said is, do we get liquid fuels for that road? I know it is listed on the map, on our map. I was thinking maybe it was a paper road that somebody took over, but Lesser's to Richards, that it was listed.
Yeah, it goes back to the bus company. I think it ends at the bus company though, right at D'Angelo's
I'll have to look and
property.
see how long it is.
Yeah, 'cause-
PennDOT should have that information. if
yeah,
we don't.
because I'm pretty sure that it's basically the bus company and John D'Angelo and the bus company basically inhabit that road.
Okay.
But yeah, we'd have to check to see if it. I can't. Did you have a? What's your deed say to that property? You have a deed for that property. That road doesn't. Is it supposed to continue through your property?
No, so
I didn't
it was
think so.
shut down a long time ago.
Okay.
Back further where you guys are talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
I
yeah,
believe
yeah.
it's in the bus, like between D'Angelo and the
Right.
bus, somewhere in that.
That's kind of what I thought. That was a paper street that never got.
Because
never got adopted.
back in the day, they wanted to put a right of way in there to make that a U to
Yeah.
go back out to Dexter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's a house right there. So you
There's
can-
also a side yard issue too.
The
right?
side yard was 25 feet. There's a fence, and I had told him after talking to the solicitor, if for some reason those aren't able to be met, then he would just have to go in front of the zoning hearing board. And
Correct.
I mean, I don't
Request
see
a
any reason
variance.
why
They wouldn't grant.
they wouldn't grant it, but unfortunately, it is a fee for him. And that's one of the things that I had talked to Bryn Brothers about. Most of our ordinances, they're just outdated.
Yeah.
And had we had in there, you know, you could hit, like he has a 7-foot fence, you said.
Yeah, we have 7-foot ballpark fencing the whole way around, and then we have black 98% visibility block mesh.
So we could have something in there that states, you know, so many feet or a fence.
Well, the screening is part of the junkyard ordinance because it either needs to be by
I mean,
vegetation or fencing. Because that part of it I read.
Yeah. But then it goes with a setback.
Also, when you
Right.
do have this, I mean, we already went through the state, which is the Department of Transportation, and they do send an auditor out to specify that you can have a salvage license through the state and a salvor license through the state with your repair towing facility. So that has already been all completed.
So we can send Eric to look down and measure it and see what he thinks if it's within compliance. But it would be a month before we could approve it. And then if he would say it's not, then you could just go ahead and schedule.
We could let you know that immediately.
Yeah, the zoning, yeah, we wouldn't make you wait. Shannon could reach out to you.
Okay.
So we don't have to table that or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So I
fine.
make a motion, you said yes or no?
No, I mean, you can table it just
Okay,
for.
so I would make
purposes
a
of the
motion
minutes.
to, table the, junkyard permit application. And again, looking at this, I was like, is this really all you need?
Yeah.
There isn't a whole lot, in there, and
Well, other than the setback, I believe he's
25 feet and 100 feet, yeah, that he's good,
He's-
and
he's
he
good.
may be still fine.
right
Um,
because I've been down there, and yeah, I know what they're doing down there. So yeah, we'll make sure that we get everything lined up so there's not a future problem there. But all right, I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. We'll get you marked eventually here. We'll figure it out.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. So one of the other things the council government does is we do commodities bidding for a block group of people, and we have the gas and diesel contract went to Miser Fuel.
Melzer.
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 Oh, that's an L. Yeah, I can't see it.
I don't have any input on that Melzer's fuel. We use them and John D'Angelo used them. Their prices fluctuate after so long, big time, and they are very inconsistent with refilling.
So this is basically our council of governments goes out for bid, and they have to meet this bid to keep the job. So this goes out every year.
Yeah, no, I was
Yeah.
giving you guys an.
Yeah.
Little talent.
And if they go up, I mean,
Well, they're
they
set
were-
at that number.
yeah, they're set at that number.
And it was a good price.
The lowest.
Is that who we elected to go with, Ms. Melzer?
I mean, yeah.
The council of governments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. I mean,
Okay.
usually it's Reed, but.
Yeah.
well,
All right.
Reed?
Reed looked like it was cheaper, but
No. It wasn't, and I'm only saying that because North Swickley Township was in the exact same
2.275.
situation, yeah.
Okay, so what are we missing?
Yeah.
No, I know, I reread it too, because it was confusing.
Was there another contingency on that?
Oh, maybe the heating oil, maybe the two prices together, they were cheaper. Is that what it
Oh,
was?
yeah, here's
Correct.
this is the
Okay,
top.
sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yep, yep, okay,
And we're on blood at 87, and then
Yeah.
the diesel low.
okay. So yeah, when we look at all of the commodities that were bid, they came in the cheapest. All right, so I need a motion to accept the COG bid for gas and diesel.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the contract for Melzer Fuel and Gas for road materials through the COG.
And I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we're good with that. You need this right now. All right. Secretary's report.
I had a request to place a memorial sharing library at the park for Mrs. Santillo. They already bought a sharing library, and they wanted to place some of her books that she wrote. She was a teacher at Riverside, so I just wanted to double check and make sure that was okay. And they would install and everything.
I did ask for a picture of it. I was kind of curious as to what it looked like, and I did talk to the gentleman, and he has not talked to the family yet. He's going to, I don't want to say surprise them with it, but in a way to honor her memory. It's a good thing. So he was going to get, I guess, their blessing. I think they still had to think about a Keller, and it does look like a nice thing. And again, I mean, that's how my daughter learned to read, was through her books. So I think it would be good, but again, we still need to wait for the family to agree. And I can forward the pictures that he had sent a little bit later.
Okay, so there's really nothing we need to do that until.
I mean, if the family agrees, are you fine with it?
Oh yeah.
Because I told them I'd let them know.
Yeah, I just said, wanted it to look nice and neat, you know, the park is nice, and he did. I can show you it's real quick. Where's it? This one. Well, I'll show you, Steve,
Yeah.
because it is nice, because he had already went and bought it. And another thing that I asked, since he's meeting with the family, I don't know if anybody can see, but this is what it looks like. Since he is meeting with the family this weekend to talk to them and show them this, I asked, I know there's no time frame for us putting our meeting online, but I said, well, the secret's going to be out after tonight. But if we could just wait till Monday for that reason, I think it would be nice, because it is a very nice gesture.
Are they going to maintain it?
Well, I had told him that the biggest thing is he's going to put books in there to start, and her books, and then other people could come. And there's a lot of people that utilize the park, young kids, very young kids in that park during baseball season. But
Football season.
50, 60 years from now, you know, it is going to be falling apart, and then it would be the township's responsibility to either probably get a different one. So
Correct.
because it becomes our property once it's put there.
Yep.
Right, so.
All right, so yeah, like I said, if it,
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I'm good with it.
yeah, I am. And again, I've said all along too, if we get a project like this, like a food pantry or another lending library, the fire department parking lot would be a great place to put one of those too. There's a ton of kids that move through Frisco.
Okay.
So it would be a good place, and we could maintain it because it's right there in
there.
front of us
Okay.
all the time.
And then also, we held a paper shredding event here. And it was with Marion and North Swickley. I thought we were gonna have a little better turnout, but it was a weekday, 9 to 11, and that's what the county would only do. We probably had like 12 cars, so it was kind of a disappointment, because I thought it was gonna get utilized more. So, but the county does it monthly, at Brady's Run, so that's open to everybody. So I highly doubt they'll come back up for that, so.
We don't pay them anything for that.
No, it's a free service. And I asked if they
Maybe we could try again though.
I asked if they'd come on the weekend, and she said with the overtime issue, and there's only 4 employees, so it's really hard for them to leave to do these.
Yeah, because it's run by the county,
Yeah.
so they're paying for it. I mean, we could always ask if we get
Yeah, we can
requests.
ask again if we get more requests.
Yeah.
And then, Lindy Pavey stopped by this week. They would like to store some equipment here when they're working on milling and, repaving Palm Bell and Old Furnace Road. He talked to Bronson, but they did have a right of entry agreement that we need signed. I think that would be fine, and that's happened a lot in the past, through PennDOT and subcontractors.
When are they supposed to?
They already got awarded the contract, but they only wanted to go down 1 inch on Palm Bell, and they're gonna request to go a little deeper because it needs more. So they have to take it to Harrisburg, and however long that takes. So he said it'll probably be later this year.
So will their employees park here too? Because the way that's worded, like it says premises for
Mhm.
parking equipment,
and
employees and storing miscellaneous materials.
Normally they do park and they'll park off, and then Bronson will show them where they can go.
Well, yeah, they'll bring their equipment here at night, park here, pick up their equipment, go
Mhm.
what they're doing. So
And then we asked for them for their certificate of insurance, I'm assuming, yeah, so.
I'd recommend a motion to enter into that.
I make a motion to enter into the, agreement with Lindy Paving to store equipment at the township, and mainly because it's fine with Bronson, so.
okay, and I'll second the motion for the right of entry agreement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion to pay the bills?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. I'm in. Bills are paid. We don't need an executive session. Anyone else have any? Ma'am.
So the trailer down on Echo Street, was that a trailer park too?
No,
No,
it was
it's
just
just
a residential residential home.
And did it get condemned or how did
Oh
that?
no, they
It was
just
different.
removed it. Yeah.
That's all I was wondering.
Anyone else have any?
I have a question, I guess 2 months ago, you had the Agricultural Security Area Committee review the township's new
Yeah,
ordinance for property maintenance ordinance.
we
And
did.
there was a
A couple.
laundry list
Yep.
of recommendations. Are you gonna ever take any action on?
We are. I think what we'll do with our next workshop
Yeah.
is probably go through. We didn't have the right mix to do that this last month, so we'll probably focus on that here at the next workshop, and then probably within 2 months we can come up with the
Amendments.
The amendments to. It'll take us a couple more months, but yeah, we can have the amendments because we got some really good recommendations back in through that. So. Yeah, we'll work through that here. It'll take us probably a couple months to get because we'll have to advertise for the hearing.
Well, we won't need a public hearing for that.
Okay.
Because that's not attached to zoning, so it would
Okay.
simply be a standalone ordinance.
Okay.
So which will quicken the process. We don't need the planning commission or although the planning commission probably should review it, or
Right.
we don't need the county to review it
Right.
either.
So we'll publish the proposed amendments as they go forward, and then we'll have the meeting. But yeah, that was the buildings came up this time, and then next one I think was which other ordinance were we chasing to? This escapes me right now.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there were a few.
Probably all of them.
Yeah.
No, I mean
Well, no, because the ones
fences
we
are
passed
good.
that we had to change.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was the solar.
The solar,
Property maintenance and
it's
the
done.
solar.
Property maintenance. Property maintenance is one that we really need to go back and re-examine and get that fixed. But
I think that should be relatively
Yeah.
easy with
Yeah,
the
I mean-
recommendations that we got from the public and.
And I
And
think
ag
Eric
security.
had a couple of recommendations
yeah,
as
for
code
same change.
enforcement
Yes.
with
Yeah.
respect to
Nuisance.
including the language nuisance,
Mhm.
exactly.
Right.
Because
Or
nuisance
not
carries
having
with it a requirement to
right, yeah,
establish
removing it.
certain other things.
But yes, it is definitely still on the radar to be done here in the next couple months. So we will get that done. Anything else, ma'am?
Was there any update to, I think it was last month with Oliver and the housing plan, and then I think it was the month before, I know he was.
That had to go back through planning.
Planning, correct. And we have not heard from the county yet. I believe we'll hear from the county with respect to their recommendations and review in July.
We should have it before our next meeting.
Yes, we should.
You
you said there'd be a meeting about the, property maintenance thing.
Yeah.
When will that be?
Is that the first Monday?
It's the first Monday of the month we do our workshop, so we
Okay.
will include that in this next one.
3:00.
Okay.
Right at 3?
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay, that's this coming Monday?
No, the first Monday.
First Monday of the month.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
So
so
if
that
we-
should be like July 5th or
Yeah.
something like that.
And we can talk
No,
about a lot of
7th.
different
Ordinances,
things during
yeah.
that, and again, touching on the water,
Yeah.
touching on that, it just goes really,
And such
really
other
fast.
business, because I think we have that qualifying language. you know,
Yes.
Ordinances and such other business that might.
And
come
it's
before.
nothing we take action on. It's just us talking about what the possible
And working on
solutions
things.
are and things that go
Will you
that way.
take public input?
We
Yes.
will take public input, absolutely.
Very informal of
Yeah.
us sitting
Okay.
here,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just sitting here talking.
Yeah.
About important issues.
Anyone else?
Citizen here last week, planning meeting, there was only one person here.
All right, if I don't have any other comment, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye.